You're listening to Keith Sports News. Hey, how's it going, guys? That's right. Welcome to KSN episode 32, a special Tuesday edition. That's right. And I'll explain why that I missed Monday. Okay, this has happened before. If you follow these episodes on a weekly basis, it doesn't happen very often, but sometimes. Okay, so y'all know that I would do 2 episodes a week. I would release them usually on Mondays and Fridays before and after the weekend, right? Because to me, Mondays and Fridays are the 2 biggest days in sports talk, radio shows, podcasts. All right. They talk about what happens before the weekend on Friday and what happened after the weekend on Monday, you know? And that's what I would do. But sometimes it's not always like that. Sometimes instead of if it's not Monday, then it will be Tuesday. If it's not Friday, then it will be Saturday, okay? I have done a Thursday episode, which was on March 27th, because that was MLB's opening day, all right? But at the time, I didn't thought of doing it on Thursday, but at the last second, I was like, I think it's better if I do it on Thursday because it's on opening day of the Major League Baseball season. All right. Okay. So that's why if you have the notifications turned on, then that's great. All right. So why did I miss Monday? Okay. Well, first of all, I got to be honest. This past weekend, I did not watch any sports programming. And I didn't hear any sports programming. I didn't read any news. Yeah. That is the main reason why I didn't do a Monday episode. And there's a reason why I decided not to follow any sports programming this past weekend. Here's what happened. It's because my brother came over. Okay, so usually when he comes over, he doesn't come over much, but whenever he does, I would like to, hang out with him and talk to him. He came over on a Wednesday evening, okay? And that evening, we were actually talking for a while, and we were kind of talking about, our favorite sports media guys, sports announcers, sports hosts of shows, whatever, I have, we have a good time talking about that. So that was Wednesday. Okay. I did a Friday episode of me talking about, what's going on this upcoming weekend and all that. All right. So that was Wednesday. Thursday. What happened Thursday? Nothing really happened Thursday. Okay, so Thursday night, I recorded the last episode of KSN, because that's what I do. I would usually... Actually, no, I didn't. I did not. That's a lie. The last episode of KSN was recorded on the same morning when I released it. Yeah. And I'll tell you why that episode was not recorded late Thursday heading into Friday. The reason why that episode was recorded on the same morning is because my brother, he spends the night here, and I don't want to think that he's going to hear me, He sleeps in one of the bedrooms in this house, and also, I don't think, if I were to record that episode late Thursday night, early Friday, after midnight, Friday, if that makes sense. He's gonna hear me, and because I usually stay up late. I'm always the last person to go to sleep in this house. All right, and I sleep in the bedroom next to the room that he sleeps in. So I would hear the door opening and closing that he's in. And I was kind of afraid that not only he's probably going to hear me, but I'm afraid that he might come out of the guest room that he's sleeping, and then he'll hear me. I didn't tell him about this. He doesn't know that I have a sports talk channel. I should probably mention that to him eventually, but he doesn't know that. So I decided to do it early Friday morning, released it the same morning, which I hardly ever do that. Yeah, I like to do them the night before to get it over with so I don't have to worry about it on Monday morning and Friday morning, all right? Plus, I wake up and I have to go to work and stuff, so I don't have the time to record an episode during the same morning, all right? So that was Friday, all right? That was Thursday. Friday came, and my brother came back here, okay? So he pretty much stayed here. He stayed here for 4 nights. Wednesday night, Friday night, Saturday night. Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night. And then he left Sunday, all right? So, Friday night, usually not much happens on Friday night. It's usually Saturday and Sundays are the big sports days, right? Well, Saturday came, and I was thinking about watching some of the UFL game, but I didn't. I was listening to more of my favorite sports talk shows to just catch up and stuff, because a lot of times, I really don't listen to them live. Actually, some of them, they're never live. They would just upload it to that streaming app or whatever. Okay, so I'll have to do another episode in the future and tell you all of the sports talk shows that I like listening to. I think I have done that at the beginning of this channel, but as the months go by, I would listen to another show. I'll add a new show to my list, and that happens. So I'll have to do that in the future. I made a list of all the favorite sports talk shows that I like listening to and on what app I got them from, so. And Saturday evening, I believe I mentioned this in the last episode, I went to a hockey game. Yes, I live in South Louisiana, the capital city, and they have a hockey team, believe it or not. Baton Rouge has a hockey team, a minor league hockey team. They're called the Baton Rouge Zydeco. That's their team, okay? And me, 2 of my brothers, and my parents, we all went to the game. So it was 5 of us, all right? I'll tell you the experience. I have been to some games before. This is my 3rd time going, 2nd time this season. I went to, the first time was November of 2023, which was their first season. This is their 2nd season. So the game that we went to, it was their last game of the regular season. The very last one. And what's weird? I was going to go there. I was planning to go to that game by myself. Yeah, I was going to go by myself because so that I can do a video there. All right. The other times that I went were also with my parents, and I didn't do a video there. Okay. So I was going to go by myself the last game of the regular season. But it turns out that uh, two of my brothers and my parents, we all went, which I didn't have a problem at all. Yeah, it's more fun going with your friends and family. But I was going to go on my own and do a video there because it's the last game of the regular season. And I didn't tell any of them. I was just going to, get out the house on my own without telling them. But one of my brothers, the one that spent the night here for the 4 nights, he asked me, "Hey, would you like to go to the hockey game with everyone?" And I said, "Oh, yeah." But I didn't tell any of them that, hey, I was going to go to this game by myself. I didn't tell them that, so, you know. And I didn't bring my camera because I went with, my family. And I didn't know what seats we were going to get because I didn't bought the seats. My other brother, he bought all the seats for us. Like, how nice is that, Basically, our seats, we sat behind the glass. No joke. And if you don't believe me, since I didn't bring my camera, I actually recorded some of it from my cell phone. And I'm thinking about releasing that video on my main channel, Eric Super Magnificent. I haven't even gone through the footage yet because I just don't really have the time and I kind of forgot. But yeah, we were sitting behind the glass and it was basically the handicap section. Yeah, it was the handicap section. An old man sat next to me and we were kind of talking throughout the game, so that was cool. And that was his first time. I asked him, "Is this your first time going to a game?" And he says, "Yes, my granddaughter is a big hockey fan. She follows the NHL." Like, wow. And he's from Slidell, Louisiana. Slidell, Louisiana is about like an hour-ish of a drive from the capital city. Like, wow. They drove over an hour to the game? That's awesome. So, yeah, we had a good time. Yeah, my third time went going to a game, and I was entertained from start to finish. It is great. Seeing it up close like that, wow. So that was great. And last game of the regular season, big crowd, a lot of cheers and boos. So it was great. I don't know if they're in the playoffs or not. I'll have to check. If they are, then I hope they get home ice advantage so I can go to another game. And if I do, for sure, I will bring my camera. If they let me. Because you know how when you go to a big event, you have to go through security. The security wasn't strict. They didn't say you have to take everything out of your pockets and all that. Nah, this wasn't like a huge event. It's not like going to WrestleMania, for example, at a stadium. The security was chill. Although I walked in with my water bottle. I brought my water bottle with me because I thought we were going to wait outside for a while until the doors opened. But no, the doors were already open. But when I walked in, the security was like, "No water bottles." So I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I had to throw away my water bottle. But that was it. So, yeah. Other than that, everything was great. Got some good food there. And yeah, what's really cool? They broadcast the game. They broadcast the games on YouTube. So I'll have to go through the broadcast for all the goals. And if you're wondering who do they play against, they played the Mississippi Seawolves. That's right. They played the Mississippi Seawolves, and the game was very close. It was a tight, close game. It was tied 3-3 heading into overtime. So it's just like the pro hockey rules. 5-minute overtime, right? Three 20-minute periods. And even the intermissions were they kept the fans entertained during the intermissions, so that's cool. Um, yeah, this I've never been to a game that went into overtime. This was the first one, and Baton Rouge won. The Baton Rouge Zydeco got the game-winning goal. So it was a great ending. Yeah. So that was a fun experience. And yeah, I would like to go to some more games and do an actual video there. All right. So, I mean, isn't that crazy? Baton Rouge, the capital city of Louisiana, has a hockey team. And they had a hockey team over 20 years ago. They were called I believe they were called the Kingfish. And I was like a baby, a toddler at the time, so I obviously don't remember that team at the time. Um, but finally, 20 years later, basically 20 years later, they brought back a team. So, um, I'll say this: their second season was much better than the first season because I looked at the standings. So, yeah. All right. Guess what? I mentioned that the regular season, that was the last game of the regular season. Speaking of the regular season, let's now talk about the sporting events. All right, the big sports news. Okay, another reason why I decided to wait until Tuesday to do this episode is because on Monday, I mentioned Monday is the big day for sports talk shows. I didn't know what was going on this past weekend, so I decided to listen to some of my favorite sports talk shows so I know what happened. Well, all I know, the big thing that happened this weekend, let's talk about this one now so I don't forget, is the Masters. The Masters golf tournament, the biggest golf tournament of the year. Congratulations to Rory Mcllroy. He has finally won the Masters. And I did mention in the last episode, I believe, or the episode before that, I hope he does well. Because he's never won it before. And now he did. Like, I found out, like, Monday morning, on my way to work, I would listen to a sports talk show, and it was the golf radio network or the Masters radio show. And I saw it says, Rory McIlroy wins the Masters. I'm like, what? He really won it? He did. He really won the Masters. Because I heard on Thursday, day one, he was having trouble. You know, he wasn't doing so well. And that's what they were saying. I'll tell you what, the shows that I listened to on Monday were the Tony Kornheiser show, Shine on Sports with Adam Shine. Okay, I mainly listen to those two talk about it. And a lot of people thought it was over for McIlroy after the first day or two. Somehow he made the ultimate comeback. Tony Kornheiser said that might be the best Masters comeback he's ever seen. And he's a golf fan. You know, I'm not a golf fan, but it is cool seeing something like that happening. You know, we all thought, he has no chance after that. Then he wins it. He wins the whole thing. He gets the green jacket. Wow. He's never won it before, so I am happy for him. And I wasn't sure if he's from America or not, but he's not. He's from England. No, he's from Northern He's a Northern Irish professional golfer. He's been around for many years. So, he's done it, man. He's done it. Um, yeah, I didn't see any highlights over the weekend, I decided that is another reason why I delayed this KSN episode to Tuesday, because I didn't watch or hear or read any news of the sports events over this past weekend, mainly because my brother was here, and sometimes you just need a break from sports. Yeah. Didn't watch any UFL. I'll be honest, I didn't watch any UFL. Um, I know it was week 3. Sometimes if I'm available, then I'll watch a UFL game. If not, then I'll watch the highlights on YouTube. It was kind of like that. It was like that last year, the first year of the UFL. I didn't really watch that many games at the beginning of the season, but obviously towards the end of the season, I'll follow it more. It's kind of like that with other sports leagues. The MLB season began not too long ago, and I barely watched any games, I'll be honest, because of the other sporting events happening. But then I'll get into it more during the second half of the season after the All-Star game. Um, yeah. It's just, it's not easy to follow more than one sport. But some people, they follow one sport. Some people, they only watch football. Some people only watch baseball. Some people only watch basketball. Some people only watch hockey. Some people only watch pro wrestling. But, hey, but that means you can do, like, let's say, um, okay, I'll admit, my number one favorite sports league is the CFL, believe it or not. That might sound weird because I live nowhere near Canada. If I have to pick only one sports league to watch, it would be the CFL, because I find that the most entertaining. I do. I'm glad I got the Canadian sports channels, TSN. I love their broadcast. I like the people on it. It's great, Um, you know, and if that's the only sports league I watch, then I can do like a CFL talk channel, if I decided to do it that way. But yeah. And there's some people that don't follow sports at all. My close friends, my longtime school friends, they don't watch sports. They don't. They're not like me. I guess they're more into playing video games, which is great. That's cool. I used to play games more when I was younger, but not as much. But I'm into YouTube, so you get the idea. We're all different. Some people only watch movies. Some people only watch TV shows. Some people only watch YouTube videos. Some people just play games or listen to music or whatever. Read books. You know. So yeah, we got our own entertainment or something like that. Hobby, whatever it is. Anyways, I guess my hobby is YouTube because I still love doing it. So, um, yeah, I will catch up on the UFL highlights. All right. Also, I should have said this at the very beginning, but I forgot. This just popped into my head. This week, I will do three episodes. That's right, 3 episodes of KSN this week. This is the first one on Tuesday. The next one will be on Thursday. And the one after that the third one will be on Saturday. That's right. Gonna do a special Thursday and Saturday edition. So on Thursday, episode 33, I will talk about pro wrestling. It'll basically be nothing but pro wrestling the next 2 episodes. Why? Because we are approaching WrestleMania. WrestleMania is coming up very quickly. That's right. And I am planning to do 2 special episodes of KSN of me talking about pro wrestling. So the Thursday edition will be me talking about how I got into pro wrestling, mainly the WWE. How did I get into it? When did I get into it? When did I stop watching it? Why did I stop watching it? Why did I come back? When did I come back to watch it or follow it? Okay? And I will also talk about the WrestleManias that I watched live. Kind of like when I did that episode of me talking about the Super Bowls that I watched live. And then on Saturday, special Saturday edition, I will talk about WrestleMania 42. And I will give you my predictions. That's right, I'm going to go through all of the matches, the match cards on the list, and I will give you my predictions. That's right. That means I will watch some of WrestleMania. All right? Okay? So that basically means most likely I will not be following any other sports programming this weekend. Not much. Okay? So that means I'm going to miss another weekend of the UFL. But that's fine. There's still, season's not even halfway over yet. So, but luckily they have a YouTube channel where they post their highlight videos, so I can just watch those if I miss these games. But this weekend, WrestleMania. That's the big thing for events on broadcasting, television. It is, in fact, WrestleMania. All right? So, next 2 episodes, pretty much just pro wrestling talk. So, if you like pro wrestling, then those 2 episodes will be for you. All right? Now, back to this episode. Again, congratulations to Rory McIlroy on winning the Masters. And 20 years ago, Tiger Woods won the Masters. And also 20 years ago, he had that famous 16th hole shot. Look that up. You'll see a clip. Vern Lundquist was on the call. He's one of my all-time favorite announcers on CBS. Last year was Vern's last Masters. And yeah, I don't know who replaced him, because Vern, he's always at the 16th hole. Okay? So I don't know who replaced them. But Jim Nantz was there, the host on CBS. The host on radio, however, was Mike Tirico. I've always liked him. Everyone likes Mike Tirico, He's basically Mr. NBC. He basically took over Bob Costas. Before Mike, it was Bob. And I always liked Bob Costas. Although Bob Costas did get criticized back in those years, but Mike Tirico never gets criticized. He is that damn good. So, yeah. All right. I talked about me going to a hockey game, right? And I mentioned that it was the last game of the regular season. Well, speaking of regular seasons, the NBA regular season came to an end, and the NHL regular season is coming to an end. So let me find out which teams in the NBA are in the playoffs. Every year they do that play-in game. Like, what is the purpose of that? They can't just decide. They can't decide which 16 teams are in the playoffs. They did that with March Madness. There would be like a couple of play-in games. You can't decide the 64 teams, NHL doesn't do that. MLB doesn't do that. You know what I'm saying? I find that weird, but I guess because I'm not a big basketball fan, you know. Yeah, I didn't know that Sunday was the last day of the NBA regular season, and they had that during the Masters final round. That's not a good idea. That's what Adam Shine said, one of my favorite sports talk shows. Stupidly, the NBA final day of the regular season is during the Masters final round. That is stupid. Come on. Anyways, um, all right. Today, April 15th, Tuesday, the play-in games. I guess it's only it's not a best of 3 series, right? It's just a one game. If you win, you're in, you lose, you're out. It's like a little March Madness. So, the 2 play-in games, the East Conference, the Atlanta Hawks are taking on the Orlando Magic in Orlando. In the West, the Memphis Grizzlies are playing at the Golden State Warriors. I mean, it's hard not to pick the Warriors, you know. And Wednesday, there's more play-in games. Why is there 4 play-in games? In the East, the Miami Heat are playing at the Chicago Bulls, and in the West, the Dallas Mavericks are playing at the Sacramento Kings. That's weird. There's a NBA team named the Kings, and there's also an NHL team named the Kings, the LA Kings. So, which Kings came first? I don't know. Let me look that up right now. I always forget about Sacramento. That's weird. You got the Sacramento. You got like 4 teams in California. You got the LA Clippers, the LA Lakers, the Sacramento Kings, and the Golden State Warriors. Let me see. Sacramento Kings. When were they founded? 1923? Oh my gosh, over 100 years ago. So they were in Sacramento since 1985. Before that, they were in Kansas City, called the Kansas City Kings, from 75 to 85. Okay, now what about the Los Angeles Kings? How long were they in LA? Founded in 1967. Oh, well. Okay then, now I know. Alright. So, basically the NBA playoffs have begun. And the actual playoffs will begin on Saturday, April 19th. So let me see the standings. The teams that are in the playoffs. Eastern Conference, Cleveland Cavaliers, win-loss record 64-18, followed by the Boston Celtics 61-21, followed by the New York Knicks 51-31, followed by the Indiana Pacers 50-32, followed by the Milwaukee Bucks 48-34, followed by the Detroit Pistons 44-38, and then you got Orlando 41-41. There really shouldn't be. Why are half the teams in the NBA playoffs? I know they've been doing that for a long time, just like the NHL, and every series is best of 7, but I feel like it should be 8 or 12, not 16. I find that too many. In the West Conference, the best team, the Oklahoma City Thunder, with a win-loss record of 68-14, followed by the Houston Rockets 52-30, followed by the LA Lakers 50-32. Same with the Denver Nuggets and the LA Clippers. They all got 50-32 win-loss records. And then the Minnesota Timberwolves, 49-33. All right. And in the NHL, when is their last day of the regular season? It is on Thursday. Okay. So we already got some teams that already clinched the playoffs in the NHL. In the East Conference, the Atlantic Division, the teams that clinched the playoffs are the Toronto Maple Leafs, Tampa Bay Lightning, Florida Panthers, and Ottawa Senators. In the Metropolitan Division, Washington Capitals are the best team in the Eastern Conference. Then you got the Carolina Hurricanes, then the New Jersey Devils. Western Conference, the best overall team is the Winnipeg Jets, and they were off to a fantastic start at the beginning of the regular season, followed by the Dallas Stars, followed by the Colorado Avalanche in the Central. And in the Pacific Division, Vegas Golden Knights, the LA Kings, and the Edmonton Oilers. So, they would judge the teams by points, all right? So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 teams have clinched the playoffs. So there's only 3 teams left available. So meaning 8 teams in the East Conference and 8 teams in the West Conference will be in the playoffs. So in the East Conference, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the final team, the 8th and final team in the East Conference, will either come down to the Montreal Canadiens or the Columbus Blue Jackets. The Canadiens have 89 points and the Blue Jackets have 85. So most likely the Canadiens will clinch the playoff, the last spot in the West or the East Conference. And to the Western Conference, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams. So there are 3 teams battling for 2 spots. Those teams are the Minnesota Wild and the St. Louis Blues in the Central Division, and the Calgary Flames in the Pacific Division. The Wild has 95 points, the Blues have 94 points, and the Flames have 92 points. So most likely, the Minnesota Wild and the St. Louis Blues will be in the playoffs. But who knows? Still got a few games, a few days left. So, we'll see what happens. I would like to see a Canadian team win the Stanley Cup. That almost happened last year. Last year's Stanley Cup was one of the best Stanley Cup final I've ever seen live. And I talked about that a while back in an episode. I think it was like the last episode of 2024, where I talked about my favorite sports championship game or series per year. And last year it was the Stanley Cup final. Yeah. Let's see, the best Canadian team is the Toronto Maple Leafs, I believe. But for some reason, they always choke in the first round. Like, when is enough enough? I don't know. Hey, Ottawa Senators. I didn't realize they were in the playoffs. Even though I already mentioned that team on the list, but I'm like, oh my gosh, Ottawa Senators are really in the playoffs. That's great. I hope they go well. I hope they do well. I take that back. The best Canadian team is the best team in the entire league. That is the Winnipeg Jets. The Jets, not the New York Jets. Forget those Jets. Yeah, I know. This was also the first season for the Utah Hockey Club that moved from Phoenix, Arizona Coyotes. They became the Utah Hockey Club. I think next season, they will come up with a new name. for that team. Utah will have an official name for that team. Yep, both New York teams are eliminated. The Islanders, the Rangers, Pittsburgh Penguins, and the Philadelphia Flyers are also eliminated. I remember when those teams used to be in the playoffs. Same with the Nashville Predators and the Chicago Blackhawks. Years ago, the Blackhawks were like the best team. So, yeah. Times have changed. Oh, my brother. One of my brothers, he's a Blackhawks fan. And he was wearing his Patrick Kane jersey there. Patrick Kane is a NHL player that used to play for the Blackhawks. Then he played for the New York Rangers for like one season. And now he's on the Detroit Red Wings. But most of his career, his playing career, he was with the Chicago Blackhawks. So, yeah. All right. So, the last thing. Today is April 15th. And if you were an MLB fan, you know what that means. April 15th is Jackie Robinson Day. That's right. All the players will wear number 42 on April 15th because that is Jackie Robinson's number. They retired his number through all 30 teams in the Major League Baseball, because of his history. He broke the color barrier, He will go down as, played for the Brooklyn Dodgers long time ago. I remember I did like a Black History Month project on him. I did. And I watched, I remember I watched the, like a Jackie Robinson film on YouTube. Really good. It's in black and white, but it's really good. Yeah, Jackie Robinson is a big part of history. So all the teams, all the players will be wearing number 42. And no names on the back. All the teams will have no names on the back. You're just going to see number 42 because back in the old days, it was like that. Yeah. So, yep, he played for the Brooklyn Dodgers. Yes, the Dodgers were in Brooklyn back then before they moved to LA. And it's crazy, man. The Dodgers, they also have a big history. Let me see here. When did Jackie Robinson play? It was a long, long time ago. He played on the Brooklyn Dodgers from 1947 to 1956. And you know what's crazy? The announcer back then for the Dodgers in Brooklyn, Vin Scully, the greatest baseball announcer of all time. Vin Scully called some of the Brooklyn Dodgers games, or actually a lot, all of them, for a long time. And back then, at the very beginning of his career calling Dodger games, Jackie Robinson was one of the players, man. So yeah, Vince Scully, he's also a big part of history for the Dodgers organization. It's crazy, man. So, happy Jackie Robinson Day. Number 42 for everybody. Yeah. All right. So, let me get something here. All right. And that is basically it, guys, for this episode So yeah, the next 2 episodes will be pretty much nothing but pro wrestling talk. If there's any crazy breaking news in sports that I know about, then I'll probably talk about that. So, yeah. Uh-oh. What is this? If you're watching, this logo on my shirt, we are getting closer, guys, to WrestleMania. I'll see you guys Thursday. Special edition of me talking about pro wrestling, how I got into WWE at the time. And then Saturday, the big day for WrestleMania where I give you my predictions. That's right. That music's playing. Yeah, that's what this is. I better get on out of here, folks. So, see you next time. See ya. Thank you for listening to Keith Sports News.